From a teaser setting up Maggie and Megan's unlikely journey through a post-apocalyptic New York, to Lauren Cohen revealing that the series will peel back the layers between the two characters, here's everything we know about The Walking Dead's upcoming spin-off, Dead City so far. And I'm starting with the teaser. To be fair, there are 2 Walking Dead spin-offs coming this year, and both feature fan-favorite characters. We're gonna see a Daryl Dixon take on France later this year. But before that, the fans are headed to the city that never sleeps. The new teaser, which dropped on YouTube in March, sets the stage for Maggie and Negan's latest adventure. And it's safe to say that the fans can't get enough of Jeffrey Dean Morgan. One fan even suggested that Negan's gonna carry the whole show. And you know what? I can see where they're coming from, but I wouldn't take Maggie Rhee too lightly either, considering she's one hell of a powerhouse played by the equally brilliant Lauren Cohen. Anyway, the teaser revealed that both characters are in for a new challenge, and it's different from what we've seen in the original series. But before I get into the nitty-gritty details, let me put your mind at ease with some essential details on how and when to watch the series. Dead City will premiere on AMC and AMC Plus on Sunday, June 18th at 10 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. Central, and the following episodes will air every Sunday at 9 p.m. and 8 p.m. respectively. So mark your calendars and set your reminders, because you know we're going to be breaking down each episode as they come out. Now, one of the reasons why Dead City will feel different from what we've seen in the original series is because of the time jump. It takes place a few years after the events of The Walking Dead's series finale, and a lot has changed during that time. First of all, Negan has made new enemies. I mean, we already knew he was going to, right? But one of these enemies is Marshall Pearlie Armstrong, played by TV veteran Gaius Charles. He's best known for playing Brian Williams in Friday Night Lights, and Dr. Shane Ross in Grey's Anatomy. So there are 2 separate fan bases who were glad to see him cast for such an important role in Dead City. Now, as Marshall Armstrong, he's in charge of maintaining law and order in New Babylon, and one way he intends to guarantee everyone's safety is by hunting Negan. Charles was at the Walking Dead panel at WonderCon in March, and he let the fans in on a little secret about his character. The thing about the Marshal is that for him, New Babylon is one of the states that's trying to put the world back together, and in order to do that, he'll do whatever violent thing that needs doing. Whether it's unleashing his wrath on people he considers criminals, or hunting down Negan for a crime he may or may not have committed. But here's where things get more complicated. In order to hunt Negan, he's going to come into conflict with Maggie Rhee, whose one and only goal is to find her kidnapped son. Hold on a sec. Weren't Maggie and her son Herschel chilling in the rebuilt hilltop the last time we saw them? Well, yeah. But like I said, it's been a few years since we last saw the characters on The Walking Dead. During that time, a character named the Croat and his violent group of survivors have kidnapped Herschel and brought him to New Babylon. And somehow, Negan is the key to securing Herschel's release. It's like the stars aligned to force 2 bitter enemies to work together, and I love that. Now the Croat will be the series' main antagonist and will be portrayed by none other than Zeljko Ivanek. He's been on TV longer than most of us have been alive, and that should tell you about the wealth of experience he's bringing to the series. He was Ed Danvers in Homicide: Life on the Street, and his best role, in my opinion, was in Season 1 of Damages, for which he earned an Emmy. So I'm really excited to see what he's bringing to the table, considering Dead City is filled with talent. Now I know that there aren't a lot of familiar faces in the spin-off, but that's a good thing. It's a chance to view The Walking Dead's world from an entirely new lens, and from what I've seen so far, the series will set itself apart from the rest of the franchise. You see, Dead City will show us how New York's atmosphere and level of decay is completely different from southern areas like Georgia and Virginia. Manhattan was cut off from the rest of the mainland very long ago, and the result is something like I Am Legend, except it's much worse. Vegetation has taken over everything. Decay has seeped into every corner, and the buildings are one brick away from falling over. In fact, Negan even says out loud how zombies are falling from the sky. He sounds surprised by it, which is exactly what I'd want to see in a spin-off of this type. New York's known for its mean streets, so imagine how much meaner they're going to be after zombies have taken over the entire island. But it's not all bad, you know? Showrunner Eli Jorn said in an interview that the series will take the point of view of 2 people stepping into the Big Apple for the first time. So, in spite of all the zombies, There's going to be a novelty factor to it. The tall glass buildings, the iconic skyline, the massive urban landscape, all of it's going to be there for the viewers to take in. And I hope they've taken a leaf out of HBO's book and kept the sets as practical as possible, because a large number of folks who've watched and loved The Last of Us will also be tuning into Dead City, and I think they're going to be looking for the same wow factor that the HBO series gave them. But on the flip side, Scott Gimple, showrunner of the OG series, explained that Dead City will focus on the few instead of the many. So, where The Walking Dead was an ensemble with a cast of thousands of supporting characters and extras, Dead City will instead focus on Negan, Maggie, Herschel, and a few friends and enemies. That's it. The series won't have a ton of characters coming out of the woodwork and will focus on fleshing out the existing characters more fully. Both Negan and Maggie will have to face their own demons, but Maggie might have to go a step further and learn what it means to truly forgive someone, especially after watching Negan do what he did to Glenn. May he rest in peace. So, yeah, Dead City is a lot more intimate than the original show, and again, that's a good thing. But this raises an important question that I'm sure newcomers to the series are going to have. Do I need to watch every single season of The Walking Dead and fear The Walking Dead? And the answer is no. Now, does it help to know Negan and Maggie's history beforehand? Totally. You need to know why the two have such a complex relationship with each other, and why Maggie has a knife to his throat in one of the set photos. But according to Eli, it's totally fine if you're new to the series and just want to check out Dead City. It's new, it's only 6 episodes, and you don't have to put in extra effort learning the characters' pasts. You'll get to know them and their histories right from the get-go, and besides, it's a whole new world with a totally unique visual aesthetic, and the only 2 characters you're gonna want to focus on are Negan and Maggie. Of course, there are others, but the reason why the 2 bitter enemies are interesting is because of the tension between them. Lauren Cohan, who was also at WonderCon in March, said that the show will painstakingly peel back every layer between them. They've crossed paths many times before, but back then they had the option to ignore the other. Not in Dead City, though. The pair will be forced to navigate New York City's treacherous roads together, and according to Lauren, the 2 are going to be trapped together to face things head-on. That's going to be pretty interesting, considering Negan has always been known as a brutal, no-nonsense guy who doesn't necessarily talk about his feelings. Plus, in the first look photos, there's that photo I mentioned earlier, where Maggie has a knife to his throat. And we all know that Negan deserves it, whatever the reason. Right? There are also photos of Trey Santiago Hudson playing a character named Jano, and another where Charlie Solis portrays a bartender. But what I was excited to see was the new photo of Marshall Armstrong looking determined to find something. He looks badass in an all-black outfit, complete with an oversized coat that gives him a preacher look. Can't wait to see him in action in June. So, from Lauren setting up the conflict between Maggie and Negan, to the teaser showing fans the 2 characters' deadly journey through a zombie-infested New York City, those were the latest updates we know about Dead City so far.